Hey there, everybody. It is that time. There we go. Tuesday, 3 o'clock, weekly video log on November the 8th, Election Day. Hopefully everyone has already been out or is going out to vote sometime this evening before the polls close. Make sure your vote is counted. Exercise your right as an American. And vote for the candidate that you feel is going to fare the best after this crazy election. So just wanted to take a few minutes, check in with everybody, let you know that the UZURV operations team and support team is here for you. We've had a couple weeks in a row with special guests. We had Matt Donlin a couple weeks ago. We had Jordan Peters from our support team last week. And this week, back in the car. Hopefully there's no air blowing on the microphone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. New to me, in celebration of, I don't know if anyone saw my post today, but I had my 2,000 rides congratulatory email from Uber, and I somehow found that in my spam folder. So apparently it happened back on October the 29th, which was a crazy weekend for me to be in Harrisonburg, Virginia, driving out there at James Madison University for Halloween weekend, which was amazing to say the least. We had some 9.9 surge for about 4 to 5 hours. We had 7s, 8s, 9s. I had never seen any surge over 4.9, never driven a trip over 4.9, and that was a very lucrative weekend for those drivers from Richmond that decided to make the trek up there. So passed my 2,000 rides last week, or last weekend, a week and a half ago, and that's a pretty memorable experience. I think I'm only at about 120 to 130 rides on LYFT. But my point for bringing that up is, for a reminder of the 1,600 members of this Facebook group, just remind you that all of the operations team at UZURV are active Uber or Lyft drivers, or both. So not only are we able to support you on a lot of the questions that come up in the Facebook groups or in the local communities groups regarding UZURV, but we're also able to answer quite a few questions regarding how to do rideshare via Uber or Lyft, and hopefully have genuine responses based on experience where we can help each other out. So I definitely want to make sure that everyone is understanding that our support team is different. In having a couple conversations with our local operations manager for Uber, they were told that they are discouraged from becoming drivers, or if they were drivers, that they're not allowed to drive any longer when they're in operations. So we have the opposite view. We think that being connected with the customer, and every trip we take is market research for UZURV, and every trip we take is a potential customer. A lot of times some of our riders are drivers as well, or they become drivers. So I know many of you may have had or have different opinions on whether or not we should refer more drivers to the rideshare platforms, but when there's a bonus out there, sometimes you just got to do it when it's in your vehicle. But when it comes to UZURV, both for drivers and passengers, it's very simple to continue to refer. And I think we're doing a better job of getting that message out, not just in this Facebook group, but to new passengers and new drivers that are coming on board, is that all of the growth thus far is word of mouth. And those of you that have been with us since the beginning, when we launched this app back in April, you know that there has been significant growth. And I know that some new people come in and feel the growing pains of a brand new market, like Oklahoma City or Columbus, Ohio, or even Denver in some regards, where it's, you go, well, it's slow. Well, yeah, when you're in a city that's got several million people and you're waiting for UZURV trip or reservation requests to show up, it can feel kind of slow. But some of the smaller towns, Gainesville, Wichita is a great example. Wichita isn't that small, but they've had a great growth story with UZURV, and all of us will get there. Richmond is on fire, but we expect it to be that way. We've got almost a year head start with a lot of the representatives that are part of the core Richmond group of drivers, and they've gone through the growing pains as well. And they helped fix a lot of the early issues with the beta software with the app, where the app, just really didn't function all that well. But you know what? We've got an app that is working. There are definitely improvements that can be made. Our development team is hard at work on our server migration, and therefore you may have noticed there haven't been any updates to the app in several weeks, if not maybe a month and a half or so. That's because our server migration has to be finished before we can start putting effort back into changing the app again. So we've got to build the foundation first, and then we can put all the decor on the outside of the house once it's built. So that's what's going on from kind of a broad perspective with me, with rideshare, with UZURV, with the server migration, with software updates, with market growth. Those of you that saw the totals that came out last month, some great numbers up there from drivers all around the country, not just Richmond. Richmond had the majority of it again, but Dallas was up there, Wichita was up there. We had good representation. I think Fayetteville continues to have some good successes, and it's good to see all of the participation from around the country. So the next announcement I want to make is that operations team, including me again, will be back out on the road. I think we're hitting 6 cities in the next 3 days, starting dark and early tomorrow morning. I think we're going to head out of the Central Virginia area about 5 a.m. We're going to head to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, meet drivers there, move over to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, meet some drivers there. Then we're going to head west towards Ohio. I think we're going to hit Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati, Ohio. And then on the way back, we're going to I believe we have appointments in Charleston, West Virginia, before we get back into Virginia on Friday, late Friday night. So if you are on this Facebook group and you're viewing this video either live or tomorrow or later, and you are in one of those cities, be sure to take a look at the email that comes out, I believe later today. It's going to have the exact times that we're going to be in each city. We sure hope they're exact, because when you're on the roads, anything can happen. But that's the plan, is that we'll be there during those times and get back on a regular travel schedule. The last couple road trips that the operations team took have been very successful with some of the new cards and marketing materials that we're handing out. The headrest covers have been a huge hit. Rider growth is definitely spiking in the areas where we have the promotions with the headrest covers and the decals on the outside of the cars. So we've got people in certain cities asking why they're seeing UZURV company vehicles in their town. Are there events going on? And we're saying, no, those are actually independent contractor drivers just like you that have decided to put a UZURV logo on the side of their car to help build their own business and promote to their customers. Because I can tell you right now, when somebody Googles UZURV, UZURV, that's all they get. They get a whole bunch of articles and a whole bunch of information about UZURV and UZURV.com. Maybe they get the YouTube channel, but it's all based on UZURV. You don't get anything accidental. And that's the nice thing about it. I mean, it does have recognition. People, get in your car, hey, I thought I, requested an Uber. What is UZURV? And it's just a natural segue into explaining to them what we do and how and why and how it's going to benefit them. So make sure that, if we're in your town, look us up, make sure you're there. We always like to buy the coffee or the pizza or whatever the time of day might be for the right type of food. And I know everyone always likes free food and drinks. So it's always good to see you all in those markets. So that's where we'll be the next 3 days, and I'm sure we may take some time to do some live video, maybe do some Q&A with some new drivers in certain cities, and just get a pulse and make sure we've got the questions being answered properly. We may need to go in and update our FAQs on the website pretty soon, because I have a feeling some of those may already be outdated. So just keep the questions and the feedback coming. Utilize the feedback option in the app menu. Utilize support@uzurv.com. We, for one, have not eliminated our email support like some of our rideshare partners have. We will continue to offer email support, and it is personal email support. I've mentioned in previous videos, people go, "Oh, I'm sick of these robot replies." The robot is Jordan and her team. It's not a machine. It is a human being. So a lot of the questions are common, so therefore a lot of the answers may be similar, but ask a basic question and you're going to get a pretty canned answer. So we want to be genuine. We want to be specific to every individual situation. And hey, believe me, there's things that come up that we have not seen before. Make sure you communicate them, because we'll see people post something in a Facebook group that we haven't heard anything about. And unless we come across it on Facebook and say, hey, you need to send that in to support, or send it in via the feedback option in the app, because we need to know. And that's the way that it gets cataloged and gets listed and gets into our system and tracked, so that if we know we have a known problem, when 5, 6, 7, 10 requests come in for the same thing, we can address it. So I'm going to go back here real quick, take a look at these, at who has joined. I appreciate everyone jumping in. I see some new names on the list. Great to see you all here. Deva from the West Coast has joined in. Thank you, Deva, for jumping on. Hopefully Lake Tahoe this time of year is treating you well. Dan is there as well. And Dan, I've noticed you've been pretty active. Thank you very much for jumping on board. We were out in Lake Tahoe earlier this summer, and sorry, I believe we may have missed you there, but we had a great meeting with the team out there, and definitely want to do that again. Raymond, Mark, you guys are on. Let's see. Raymond, thank you. Congratulations on 2K. Yeah, I don't have the 5,000 rides that you do, or the almost 10,000 rides that Harold does, but my 2,000 isn't too shabby for driving usually 3 nights a week. This vehicle that I'm in here, I just picked this one up this weekend. This is my foray into Uber XL and LYFT Plus. So if I'm only going to drive 3 nights a week, I might as well make twice as much per trip. So we'll see how I do with an XL vehicle. Anyone interested in buying a lightly used Uber X beautiful car, you let me know. This is, I guess, my cheap marketing. I get 1,600 impressions here for my car for sale. If anyone wants to drive a UZURV, previous UZURV vehicle, mine will be up on the auction block. All right, Marie, Tanya. Matt Donlin, our CEO, has joined in. Fantastic. Mark in Greensboro. Raymond said he needs more decals. We all need more decals. Believe it or not, they're not free, so we have to order them in the thousands of quantities, and that takes capital. So we always got to twist the arm of the man who holds the wallet with our little startup privately held company here. And once we get that wallet, the crowbar out and open the wallet up, we can order some decals. I think we're pretty well stocked for this next road trip, and so we will get some more out there. And then when we're in Winston-Salem again to see you, I guarantee you we will have decals with us, because we are finding that more than anything, from outside the vehicle, those die-cut decals, they're 20 inches long, they attract attention, and they get people asking questions. Once they're inside the car, the headrest covers by far are the most effective. The business cards at this point, even though we're handing out a lot of business cards, if you think about the last time someone handed you a business card, what did you do with it? And even if it had a promotion or something free, or free coffee at McDonald's, most of the time it just sits in your center console and never goes anywhere. So best method for referring that we've found for referring riders is definitely referring in the app, from the app menu. use the option in the app menu that says share my invitation code, and you can do that via text message, email, Twitter, or Facebook. So yes, on the subject of marketing materials, make sure that you stop by our meetings when we're in your town and pick that stuff up. Ray says, been talking to Harry and pointed the support level. Oh, very nice. Thank you. Ray's on a roll. He's leaving all sorts of comments today. Oh, that's great. Great comment, Ray. I appreciate that. And just to reiterate for everybody, it says if you haven't already reviewed the app on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, please do that. As soon as you're done watching me talk right now, or even in the middle of it, because you can come back and visit this later, take some time, just go to the Play Store, click on UZURV again and UZURV Driver, either or both, preferably both, and leave a review. Hopefully it's 5 stars. If it's not, hey, you know what? Be honest, and we'll work on it to make it better. But you know, we definitely need those of you that have downloaded the app and have tried it. When you're reviewing an app, you're reviewing it for functionality and what it does for you. You see some of the comments on there that, you know, my driver was late. This app sucks. Hey, you know what? You know, unfortunately, we can't control whether a driver showed up, but it really probably had nothing to do with the app. So, you know, our development team really prides themselves on the ratings that are posted. You know, it's their report card, and in the industry, right? When you have an app that's rated a 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, it's just like us as drivers. We don't want anybody below 4.6. We need to have our app up there as well. So please jump on there and review the apps as quickly as possible. We could use your support. Jesse's on. Nice shades. These are my signature shades. Every once in a while, people ask me, what are they? These are Fox Racing. I had a friend from out in California that worked for Fox Head, which is the apparel division of Fox Racing. And now I believe she's at Fox Shocks. So the apparel connection is cut off. But, you know, I've got a closet full of Fox stuff, if that's means anything. So Tahoe needs decals. Dan, as soon as we're out your way, we will bring them. If we get enough in stock in the meantime, those of you that agree to put them on your vehicle, we will send them to you. But because the supply is so thin, I can't offer the same promotions right now that we did at the very beginning. We offered a lot of decals out there for free, and they never got put on. So we now install them ourselves when we're doing these market visits. And if they're still on the car 30 days later, we start paying drivers back for doing that for us. So keep an eye out for us when we're in there. Jackie's got some pretty pointed comments here. Since Uber rolled out reservations, no one finds the value with UZURV. Okay, well, we've all got what's called Uber scheduled rides. Uber does not make reservations. Let's be real clear there. And we've clarified this on previous videos, but just like anything, Jackie, it's confidence with what your product is. And we knew that Uber was coming out with scheduled rides long before UZURV was up and running, okay? So we know that the void exists, or the demand exists for what we do. And right now, we know that there are other people that are probably working on the same things that we have done, but we are first. And we got out there and we decided to roll to markets as quickly as possible. We may have gone faster than we could. We got a really small team, but you know what? We feel confident that we did the right thing, and that is get the word out there that UZURV can reserve your Lyft or Uber driver. That's the key element. Is our company is based on relationships, and our first relationship is between UZURV and drivers. And all the people that are watching this video right now, 1,600 of you are the ones that have stepped up and said you want to be a part of this early on, and are drivers. So we appreciate every one of you, and we're all in it together. I'm a driver, just like each of you, And I know that when I refer a rider or another driver, that I am offering up my services. Okay, this is a reservation with me, not with Uber. This is a reservation with me. So a scheduled ride, whether it be Uber or Lyft, Lyft is testing on the West Coast as well, is a normal trip request. Normal Uber, normal Lyft. It's just the app remembers it for you. So if you say, hey, I need an Uber tomorrow at 8 a.m., I'm going to set it to call my Uber at 8 a.m. And that's what it does. The app will do it for you at the time you designate. It's a random trip request. The driver sees it as a random trip request. He doesn't know that it's a scheduled trip. And when you get to the house and you're 15 minutes early and the person doesn't come out of the house and you end up canceling on them, it's a bad experience, right? So there's a lot of work that needs to be done to polish it up for what they can legally do as a TNC operator or TNC company to provide an advance arrangement, okay? If you read all the state statutes, that's what it comes down to. They can schedule their own trip request in advance, but they cannot reserve a driver and guarantee an experience and open up a chat ahead of time and or let the driver see in advance where they're going and or allow the rider to offer a monetary incentive to that driver and incentivize them, thank them for their extra level of service and say, you know what, I want to ride with Jeffrey. Okay, I want to ride with Jeffrey. And that's my name as it shows up on Uber because that's the name on my driver's license. But when people call me Jeffrey, I know that they are referring to me through Uber. You call me Jeff, then I know it's UZURV. So that's just my method. But when they say, I want to reserve Jeffrey, they're not reserving Uber. They're not reserving Lyft. They're reserving me. Okay, we will decide whether we're going to use Uber or Lyft, which one we're going to use based on what the customer requests, and we will execute the trip on that platform because of insurance reasons, legal reasons, liability, everything. It's just, I don't carry commercial insurance. I carry commercial rider or commercial rideshare insurance on my personal insurance. My insurance is $1 million umbrella through Uber and Lyft for every trip. Okay, and that's what we require in order to drive and make reservations with UZURV. So anyway, a lot of discussion there. But Jackie, short story long, or long story short, is confidence in the product. We offer a better product because the product is you specifically as a driver. So when you say people don't see value in UZURV, I think people don't see the value in how it's being explained to them at that time, whether they be a driver or a rider. Because there's 1,600 people on here right now watching this video that do see the value in it and do believe in it. And the thousands and thousands of riders that are signing up weekly right now are also seeing the value in it. And we offer, Uber offers scheduled rides throughout the country. It's not just your market. Okay, and it's been out now for at least probably 2 to 3 months. So we are operating very well in that climate. We knew it was going to come. We have a better product. All right, move on to the next one. So, yeah, drivers on here are going to have all sorts of great comments, and we keep this forum positive. We want it to be supportive. Nobody's on here to bash anybody, but Jackie, our job as a collective group of 1,600 drivers with UZURV in common is to support you, help you come up with some better speaking points, help you relay it to riders and drivers. And you know what? It's not for everybody. It's really not. There are times, if you live in an area, let's say it's downtown, and you can get Uber any time of the day or night, and you don't care who the driver is, great. Do that. We are all riders ourselves, I hope, for both TNC operators and UZURV. But if you don't need a reservation, why would you book one? Right? If I can walk into my favorite restaurant and sit down at my place every single time, I don't need Open Table. Okay, but now that I look, and Open Table is offering loyalty points. The more I go, the more I utilize it, the more points I get. Sooner or later, I get something for free. Might take a while, but that incentive is also built into UZURV, right? Referral rewards. You don't always need to make a reservation, but when you do, whoever that referral is, when they make that request, you're going to get the 7% back. So it works both ways. All right. So appreciate everyone tuning in. I know I covered quite a few subjects there. Operations will be on the road this week. The last thing I want to talk about is the driver payout that's in progress right now. There's a little bit of confusion, and just let you know what's going on. As we're migrating our server, we are not putting a lot of time into creating this cash out option that we have talked so much about, where we want to be able to allow you the flexibility to cash out of our app, just like the other TNCs do. Everyone's kind of getting to the daily payout type of thing. So if we can get to that point quickly as soon as the migration is done, great. We know we don't want to hold your money. And just so you know, we pay the transaction fees on collecting those incentives from the rider, or from the riders for you. We don't charge that to you. Right now we're paying those transaction fees and passing along your incentives in full. We've had people say, hey, you hold my money for 30 days. Mainly because we didn't have the infrastructure to pay it out faster, right? And being able to do it once a month is what we can handle right now. We're not trying to hold your money hostage. We pay it out in full. Incentives that occurred. This is one thing that, just comes up with new software. We had people that completed reservations on Halloween night, October 31st. And because our system turns over the following day at Greenwich Mean Time, it's like 4 hours, 5 hours difference than Eastern Standard Time. So any trips conducted after like 8 or 9 p.m. on the last day of the month, which would be October 31st or even previous months, if you had a trip that took place during that time, between, let's say, 8 p.m. and midnight on October 31st, it rolls over to the following month. Okay, we didn't know that. Our development team had to go in and go, oh yeah, that's why this is, you're seeing something that says $10 in your bank, and you get a check for $9. And we go, well, what happened? Well, there was $1 that was an incentive that occurred during that 4-hour window where the system had already switched over to the next day. Okay, we just found that out. We've had people think that we're trying to short them $1 or $3 or whatever. That's not the point. And we will get the money right. Any money owed to you, even as small as 7 cents, going all the way back to April or May, all of that has been tracked, and we're going to move all that into a secondary payout process during the month of November. We're going to clean these books up by the time we get into December and January. So we still have a minimum of $5, but if we can roll over and clean up as much of that as we possibly can, we will in the next 30 to 45 days. So that's the commitment I have to you. We want to always pay out on the 7th. Because we're doing mail checks this month, we actually initiated the payout on the 2nd, I think. So a lot of you received your payout before the 7th, which that was our intention. Is, if we know that it's going to take some time in the mail, if we can execute it in the first 2 days of the month, let's get it done. So let us know, comment below, have we fallen short? Have we, met your expectations? Did you get your check? Did you not get your check? Any of those situations come up. We are paying out every single month. You have to respond to the address submission form, and that only needed to be done once. So even if you had your app or the address correct in the app, we've separated to the address submission that goes into the B of A system, and that's where we're going to send your check. It can handle P.O. boxes. It can handle apartment numbers, which the app currently does not. So understand that's why the two are separate, and we apologize for any confusion, but make sure that you've submitted that link. We'll have I'll ask Harold to post it here in the comments below the video, so that if you haven't submitted your address, you can send that in and we'll have it in the system. And this is temporary, once again, until we can get back into development on somehow paying you directly through the app. Okay, and we've been promising that since the app launched, and we will get there. So appreciate your patience. I appreciate everyone's efforts. Thanks for sharing UZURV with your riders and drivers. And those of you that are in the areas that we're going to be hitting the next couple days, we'll see you then. If not, we'll see you soon.